Welcome back, everyone. Hope you enjoyed preparations to be together for an unknown period of time. And please help me welcome back the writer, director, and producer, Lily Horvatz. So, Lily, why don't we start with the genesis of the film? Where did this story come from? What made you want to make this film?
Uh, actually, I had only a running idea first. It was the parking lot scene where the man doesn't recognize the woman. So I just had this idea. I didn't know back then who the man was, who the woman was, and that this will happen at the parking lot. But I had this core idea for the film that woman should come from a distant place, full of love and expectations to a man. And then the man says, sorry, I don't know you. This is the first time I'm seeing you in my life. And that was the original idea around which the further elements started to gather.
It grew from there. And, and could you talk maybe a little bit more about that, almost like a mistaken identity or a projection of one person, projecting their love onto someone else? What kind of drew you to that strife and human connection?
I guess that, of course, we show a really extreme situation in the film, but that experience that we project things at the beginning of a love story, we project a lot of things onto the other person that tell maybe more about us than of that very person. And then if the actual being together happens, then it is a big task to synchronize these images. I think that's a common experience that happened to me, maybe that happened to you or to all of us. So I never stood waiting at the Liberty Bridge in Budapest, waiting on a date, but that experience is known to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely pretty universal. You also have a background as a casting director. Can you talk a little bit about the casting process and Natasha Stork? She's excellent in the film. How did you select her, and what were the qualities that we were looking for the character?
Actually, it's her first big screen role, so she played only minor parts up until now, and so it was a bit risky to cast her in such a big role. But first, I was looking for a mixture of strength and fragility. And I found it in Natasha, and I was looking for of course, for an exciting face because it's so centered on her, and on the other hand, for a very intelligent actor, because she has to play a neurosurgeon in the story, and we have to believe that. And and I felt this unity in Natasha right away. And we did a lot of screen tests with her. I don't know. She made like 5 screen tests, maybe. Or she auditioned for a long period for the role. And when I decided that I would give her the role, then a long rehearsal process started.
Right. Could you talk a little bit about directing the two actors to have this relationship that starts off one way and then kind of, evolves, but still in a very mysterious, kind of subtle way? How were you able to draw out those performances?
I was insisting on something that is maybe very common in America, but very uncommon here in Hungary, that the two actors shouldn't do anything else throughout the shooting period and the rehearsal period. I mean, they couldn't take any other projects. Because in Hungary, there is no real screen acting and theater acting. It's not divided because there are not so many films. and usually we shoot films with actors who come from a theater rehearsal, and then we can shoot a couple of hours with them, and then they run to a theater show. And in this case, I felt that this was something I couldn't accept.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was really lucky with both of them that they could manage to solve this, and they knew each other before, because Victor Bodo, who plays the male lead, he was a professor of Natasha's back in acting school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that was a really good starting point, because they knew each other. They were curious of each other from the beginning on, but they had a really distant relationship somehow, and that caused a good kind of tension,
Mm-hmm.
that we could use really well when we started to rehearse. And yeah, I guess, and Victor Bodo is a well-known theater director too,
Mm-hmm.
and he mainly directs only, and he hasn't took an acting part for more than 10 years now, so this is his comeback. And
And why do you think that he chose to do that? Did you have to pitch it on to him, or was he excited for the role? What made him want to do that?
yeah, I guess he was. Yeah, I sent him the screenplay, and then we met, and then he decided that he would do this, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's also something that I could use when I was directing him.
Mm-hmm.
This coming back, this weight of of his decision,
Mm-hmm.
and he knew something that the character knows as well, that the character makes also a big decision that he won't operate anymore, but he turns towards writing, and then he makes a comeback to the
Right.
operating theater in the film. So yeah, I guess yeah, we talked a lot about these experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. You shot the film on 35 millimeter. Can you talk about that choice and the creative direction for the cinematography?
Uh, yes, with the DOP Robert Mali, we decided early on that this story requires the mystery that 35 millimeter carries in
Mm-hmm.
itself, and we try to escape the perfectness of digital images, I guess, because we were looking for some secret in the raw material itself as well, the grains, the
Mm-hmm.
unsharpness. That these were our friends,
Right.
because yeah.
Well, and shadows.
Excuse me.
Great shadows in the
Yeah,
film. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
and yeah, and it was also, it did really well to the shooting method as well, because people are so concentrated. When the raw material costs a lot, we can't do no matter how many takes, and yeah, the whole team was super focused throughout the shooting.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely, you can tell. The film is included in our Krzysztof Kieslowski Award for Best Narrative Feature Film. And to me, it very much had the look and a feel of a Kieslowski film. It kind of seems like it's right at home in the color trilogy. Could you talk about some of your influences and what you were trying to, what were there any specific, films or directors that you were drawing reference to?
Yeah, I was also yeah, happily surprised when I saw uh, on your web page that it was the Kieślowski Award, because yeah, he was definitely a main influence for this movie, and I'm also glad that now that the film got some international reviews, really nice reviews on Variety and IndieWire and etc. And there too it is written that the film's world reminds them to Kieślowski's world. So it was the double life of Veronica. I don't know the English title, and the Three Colors trilogy, definitely. And we also talked a lot about Vertigo by Hitchcock, and what else? The history of Adele Age by Truffaut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. All of those. It's a very filmatic film, I guess, if that makes sense, that you can tell that the creators really are steeped in an appreciation for film history, as I'm sure you are. Are you this as sort of a direct question, but of course it has to do with the film. I mean, are you optimistic about love? What do you think the message is? Do you think it's a positive force or more something that could somewhat be portrayed as, you know, a mental illness or a debilitating factor in an otherwise logical person?
Mm, I think that this film plays in this unsettlingly murky no man's land that separates love from madness, and I think that is beautiful, that we allow us to do things when we are in love that we wouldn't do in the other territories of our lives. And I think that it's beautiful that it can happen to a brain surgeon or a, I don't know, so not only to naturally dreamy persons.
Right. When did you decide to make the characters neurosurgeons? And was that like, were you kind of looking at different professions or something that you directly wanted to make as a allegorical parallel to what they're going through in their personal lives?
It was an early decision when I was writing the screenplay, and it was something intuitive to go into that direction. And then as I started to research, then I discovered more and more how many possibilities open for me in the screenplay on that level. So
Yeah.
how well these two, so the main topic of the film can fit somehow this brain surgery part.
Right, right. The the title itself is very literary. You know, it starts with preparations, kind of a matter of fact, and then becomes ambiguous, unknown period of time. The film starts with a Sylvia Plath quote. One could almost say that the title and the quote is sort of like a treaty or a thesis statement to the film. Could you maybe talk about the poetic nature and how that influences the mystery and the tone of the film?
Yeah, I already had the story when I chose the title and the quote for the beginning, because I felt that I should add something right at the beginning that that puts the first sequences into different light. You know, that so that you can feel as a viewer from the beginning on that something not so easy will happen here, although you see a woman like going on a date simply, but then you can already feel because of the title and the quote that it will be something more difficult than that.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
it is a very intriguing mystery. I really do love how then it is, open and slightly ambiguous for open to interpretation. So I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me and for sharing the film with us. I know, or I hope our audience really enjoys it. And I wish you all the success with the film and its further screenings.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Have a good night.